All right, I want to record section 1.14, area and perimeter of rectangles today. Now you'll notice that I did skip a section, and I will do that from time to time when I don't like that section or I don't find it particularly useful. But today we're going to talk about two concepts in perimeter, and in particular, area and perimeter. Now, it's likely that you've talked about this and you've learned about this in previous years, but we're going to do a little bit more of an extension than we've ever done before with these two concepts. Let's take a look at perimeter first. Perimeter, now, I think of that as building fences around something in particular. So this is when I have my little horses. There's my horse. I'll get another horse over here. And I don't want them to... I should get some tail on my horse. There we go. I don't want them to run away, so I'm going to build them a pen. My pen, say, is 300 feet on this side, 300 feet on this side, and 600 feet on this side, and 600 feet on this side. Now, my perimeter in this case means that I am buying fencing. That means, how far is it around the shape? And our key word here is around. So if I wanted to find my perimeter in this case, I would need to start in one corner and then buy my fencing all the way around. Oops, that's a terrible arrow. That means I would need to add up all my sides. So I would have 300 plus 600 plus 300 plus 600. This would give me, what is this? 600 times 3, 6, 12, 18, 1,800 feet. And that would be equal to the perimeter of this shape. Now, say, for example, that I'm not exactly sure how far my sides are, but I do know that in a rectangle, the opposite sides must be equal. So if I wanted to come up with a formula for my perimeter, in this case, my perimeter, and say I had a shape, and my shapes were this, and I had this length was L on both of these sides, and this length was W width, I could do the same thing, and I could add up all of these sides. And in fact, my perimeter in this case would simply be L plus W plus L plus W. And I can simplify this down a little bit. And I can in fact write that my perimeter of a rectangle, and I'll use a subscript to denote that this is the perimeter of a rectangle, or a little floating letter that's below the big letter. And it's going to be 2L plus 2W. So if I ever need to find the perimeter of a rectangle, this is the formula that I can use. Very convenient that way. Let's take a look at the perimeter of a square. Perimeter of a square. Now in this case, a square has 4 equal sides. And I can put these little tick marks to denote that these 4 sides are all equal. So I can say that this side has a measure of S for side. That means this side has a perimeter of as a side length of S. This one as well, and so does this one. Because they're all equal, I know that they're all measured S. So this time, if I wanted to go all the way around, I just have to add up S plus S plus S plus S. And my perimeter of a square simply is S plus S plus S plus S is 4S. Easy for me to remember. So in this case, if my perimeter was 4, I could just do 4 times, substitute in 4 for S, and I could get 16. Now that we're done with perimeter, let's go and look at area. area. This time, I want to buy some carpeting for my house. And I have a room that looks like this. It is 8 feet by 12 feet. Area is the space along the floor. Let me see if I have a better definition for area. It's more that it's the space that fills the whole floor. I don't want my carpeting just to be along the edge, because that would be a terrible way to do carpeting. I actually want my carpeting to fill the entire room. And that's the difference between area and perimeter. Okay, so in this case, my area that I would need to find is what I can do to find area is I can divide it up into little squares. So if this is 8 feet, I can say that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I could say that I could divide this up into 12 as well. I can try. 4, 8, 12. Now my measurements were not great, unfortunately. However, partially because I put the 12 on the short side and the 8 on the long side. But what I could do is I can then count up all these squares. And the easiest way to count up all these squares is just to multiply. So my area is going to just multiply 8 feet times 12 feet. And 8 times 12, I'm going to pull out my handy dandy calculator for that. That's going to be 96. Now, an interesting thing happens, though, when I multiply for my areas. I also have to multiply feet times feet. And feet times feet is feet squared. So that is represents square feet, because a square foot is like buying tile, looks like this. Whereas 1 foot looks like this. It's just a line. In this way, I can also say that the area of a rectangle is going to be my length times my width, or L times W. And I can use this formula when I'm figuring things out. Lastly, let's take a look at the area of a square. This time, if I have my square, it is the same as last time. All the sides are equal. My square is a little off, but pretend that it's perfect. I can say that I have a length of S here, a length of S, and a length of S, and finally a length of S. Now in this case, I really want to multiply my length times my width, which simply, oops, stuck to my finger there, simply means that I'm going to do S times S. Well, S times S looks like X times X. And remember, X times X is equal to X squared, because we were just doing that unit. So I can say that the area of the square is equal to S squared, or S times itself. And from these formulas, I can solve all of the problems that we're going to be doing. Now, if you feel like you can go ahead and use these formulas, go ahead and do it. But I'm going to do a couple of examples if you're curious. Okay, let's look at example 1. I want the perimeter and the area of a rectangle with width of 10 inches and an L of 12 inches. Okay, so my perimeter of a rectangle, 2L plus 2W. Okay, let's put that down. Oops. 2L plus 2W. 2 times 12 plus 2 times 10, and those are inches. 2 times 12 is 24 inches plus 20 inches, which is 44 inches. My area of a rectangle is equal to L times W. L times W equals my 12 inches, oops, I forgot to put my inches, times 10 inches. 12 times 10 is 120. Inches times inches is inches squared. There we go. Let's take a look at another example. Let's do one with a square this time. Example 2. Let's take the area and the perimeter of a square with side equal to 8 feet. Okay, area. Area of a square is S squared equals 8 feet squared equals 64 feet squared. Easy. Perimeter of a square, perimeter of a square equals, let's go look. Perimeter of a square is 4S. 4S equals 4 times 8 feet. 4 times 8 is 32 feet. Perimeter of a square is 32 feet. That's pretty much all we're doing. It shouldn't be too difficult. Go ahead and good luck.